Dear friends, we are continuing our study on the social encyclical of Pope Francis, the new encyclical Fratelli Tutti of the Holy Father Francis on fraternity and social friendship. So, in the last video I have published, we have seen the first four chapters of the social encyclica Fratelli Tutti. And now we are continuing from the fifth chapter. In between, there were a lot of criticisms against Holy Father and against this encyclical Fratelli Tutti, describing him as a socialist or um, other kinds of criticisms. Now, our intention is only to look and study what is being said in this social encyclica. So the fifth chapter, the title is A Better Kind of Politics. So there Pope cites from Matthew chapter 27, 36 to 40. Charity, according to the teaching of Jesus, is the synthesis of the entire law. So what is a better kind of politics? One that truly promotes the common good. One that does not seek merely to gain votes. One that serves as a channel for personal growth. One that promotes an economy that favors productive diversity and business creativity. So a better kind of politics is also one that is far-sighted and capable of a new integral and interdisciplinary dialogue. Fratelli Tutti calls for a social and political order whose soul is social charity, making it possible to advance towards a civilization of love to which all of us feel called. Recognizing all human beings as brothers and sisters with no one excluded. Charity needs the light of truth, the light of reason, and the light of faith. Social charity makes us love the common good. It makes us effectively seek the good of all people in the social dimension that unites them. So in this fifth chapter of Fratelli Tutti, Pope speaks and he exhorts everyone that in political activity every person is sacred and deserves our affection and our respect. If I can help at least one person to have a better life, that already justifies the offering of my life. Now let us look at the sixth chapter of Fratelli Tutti. The title of the sixth chapter is Dialogue and Friendship in Society. What does it mean to dialogue? Dialogue is, that is, first is approaching someone, speaking with them, listening to them, looking at them, coming to know and understand one another, and also finding common ground. And according to the culture of encounter, each of us can learn something from others. No one is useless and no one is expendable. A pluralistic society that encourages dialogue, respects the dignity of others in all circumstances. Also, it integrates differences, thus guaranteeing a genuine and a lasting peace. It also recognizes other people's right to be themselves, maintaining an atmosphere of friendliness. So, what kind of attitude or actions help, or what attitudes or actions do not help towards dialogue? So, any aggression we may manifest, for example, on social networks, that will not help in a dialogue. Or monologues that do not listen to others, that also do not help in the dialogue. The quick and the humiliating discrediting of others. The authentic social dialogues involves the ability to respect the point of view of others. So in this sixth chapter of Fratelli Tutti, Pope Francis calls everyone to dialogue. Now let us look at the seventh chapter of this document, Fratelli Tutti. In this seventh chapter of the Encyclical, the title is Paths of Renewed Encounter. On the path toward peace, the process of renewed encounter are very necessary. There is in true reconciliation. And in these paths of toward peace, it is also necessary in common projects that do not deny each person's individuality. Also in recognizing, protecting, and restoring the dignity of all persons. In the option for the poor, the dispossessed, and the discarded. In understanding and appreciating the meaning of forgiveness. Jesus never promoted violence or intolerance. The gospel tells us to forgive 70 times, 7 times. So we read that in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 18, verse 22. So in the seventh chapter, Pope is suggesting how reconciliation and forgiveness is possible. And a true forgiveness and a true reconciliation are achieved in conflict and are resolved through dialogue. So dialogue is essential. Secondly, abstain from enmities and mutual hatred. Thirdly, facilitate an honest discussion of differences founded on a desire of justice. Fourthly, do not mean forgetting or impunity. And finally, do not fall into the vicious circle of vengeance. So in order for different religions and communities and countries to live in harmony, to achieve true forgiveness and true reconciliation, Pope Francis proposes these steps. And finally, in this chapter, Pope Francis says, I ask God to prepare our hearts to encounter our brothers and sisters so that we may overcome our differences rooted in political thinking, language, culture, and religion. In the last chapter of Fratelli Tutti of the Holy Father Pope Francis on the fraternity and social friendship, The title of the last chapter is Religions at the Service of Fraternity in Our World. Only with the awareness that we are all children of God can we live in peace with one another. And therefore, the different religions contribute significantly to building fraternity. Seeking God helps us recognize one another as traveling companions, truly brothers and sisters. The denial of religious freedom and the freedom of conscience leaves humanity impoverished. So many Islamic countries do not give the religious freedom, and it is certainly it is leaving the freedom of conscience leaves humanity, that is impoverishing the whole thing. The church is a home with open doors because she is a mother. This is the purpose of church. The church's mission is also to build. She builds bridges. The church breaks down walls. The church also looks, she sows seeds of reconciliation in the world. So a journey of peace is possible among religions. Many would think it is no more possible to have peace and reconciliation between different religions. So Pope Francis in this Encyclical Fratelli Tutti clearly says the peace is possible among religions. The point of departure must be God's way of seeing things. For God sees with his heart. So when we think from human ways, it is difficult. We should see from the way God sees it, with God's heart. Violence has no basis in our fundamental religious convictions. Sincere and a humble worship of God bears fruit in respect for life, dignity, and freedom. So every religion should examine their God concept, and a true God will not encourage violence or promote violence. Religious leaders are called to be true people of dialogue, to cooperate in building peace as authentic mediators. So in this final chapter of Fratelli Tutti, Pope concludes with an ecumenical Christian prayer. O God, Trinity of love, from the profound communion of your divine life, pour out upon us a torrent of fraternal love. Grant us the love reflected in the actions of Jesus, in the family of Nazareth, and in the early Christian community. Grant that we Christians may live the gospel, discovering Christ in each human being, recognizing him crucified in the sufferings of the abandoned and forgotten of our world, and risen in each brother or sister who makes a new start. Come, Holy Spirit, show us your beauty reflected in all the peoples of the earth, so that we may discover anew that all are important and all are necessary, different phases of the one humanity that God so loves. Amen. So this is just a short summary, a short study of the new encyclical of Pope Francis, Fratelli Tutti. If you have liked this presentation, please subscribe this channel. Thank you everyone for listening.